Hi guys. Okay, so we're gonna be starting with some very simple advice, and I know it might sound like a little bit stupid, but I would like to run through this because I've been through this with people that they don't know how to do these things. I also do hope your Comic Con prep is going well. So just some things to remember before we start fighting. Please wash your wigs. Please. So the reason I say please wash your wigs because please remember these things have been going through factories. They are going through shipping. They are being touched. There are all sorts of things of it. You can get skin infections. You can get eye infections and stuff like that. So please do wash your wigs. It's very easy to wash your wigs. You just fill the thing, a bathtub or a bucket with some lukewarm water, not hot water, please. Lukewarm water, and you're gonna just let it soak. You can add some shampoo in there if you want, just normal, as long as it's not like the medical and dandruff shampoos and stuff like that. Those are too harsh for wigs. But normal shampoos are fine. You're gonna let it soak for a little bit and work your fingers through it, and you'll see like the water gets dirty. I had my friend very recently wash this one here, and her wig the water was very much gray. So yeah, just wash the wigs. After you've done that, you can just empty out that water, refill the water, and just put a little bit of fabric softener into it and let it soak again and work out whatever excess shampoo and stuff is in there. And then once you're done, we do not brush through wet wigs and you do not blow dry a wet wig. You will damage the fibers. What I recommend doing is you can hang it on one of these stands if you have them, or you can hang them over the faucets and stuff like that in the bathroom. You just essentially, you can even hang it on the laundry line stuff. You essentially just want to let it drip dry. And then once she is drip dried and everything, you're good. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention, when you take it out of the water initially, just pat it down with a towel to get off excess water, and then we hang it up. And then once it's drip dried and everything, you're good to go. You can brush it out, you can blow dry it and stuff like that. But yeah, we do not do these things with wet wigs because we will mess them up. Yeah. Second thing that we like to do before we start styling wigs is we look up references, so you know what the character's wig looks like. So look at the actual character wig, and then also look at references of how other people have styled it. I do recommend that because it does help to give more personal view of how the wig should sit and stuff like that. And then you can go from there. Yeah, and then we put the wig on. Obviously, we see how it's sitting on our heads and everything, and then that'll give you an idea for where it sits on your face, especially if you need to frame your face and everything. And then we take measurements of our head. You don't necessarily have to do this, but it's a nice step to do because the measurements allow us to see your wig size and stuff. Because please remember, wig heads are smaller than your actual head size, because I don't know whose head size this is supposed to be, but it's not a human head size. So yeah, measure your head. It's very easy. So you're gonna work first with circumference going around the widest part of your head, so just the circumference of your head. The next one is from basically from your hairline all the way down to the nape, so where your hair ends here. You're gonna do measurement from front to back like that. Second is ear to ear. So the first ear to ear you're doing across your forehead like this. So from this piece here of your ear all the way across that way. And then the second for your ear is again from the top piece of your ear but around your head. So basically where this headset is sitting, that is the measurement you're taking. And then the second last one is temple to temple. So you're going from here and you're going around the back of your head like that to the other side of your temple. And then the last one is your nape of your neck, which is the back over here. So you're measuring this here all the way to the back here. And yeah, that is how we measure our heads, and that gives you an accurate measurement of your head size and stuff. This is very useful for styling wigs, but it's also useful for constructing wigs. So if you're making helmet wigs and stuff like that, those measurements are very, very useful for that. And then another measurement you can do not really necessary, but it does help, especially if you're styling on like these here. So you can see where the hairline for a wig is going to be, and then you can see like the fringes sit like longer. So what you do is you're gonna measure from your own hairline to where you need. For example, if you want the wig, like the bangs to end here, you're gonna measure that length. And then on the wig head, you're gonna do the exact same thing. So wherever the hairline of your wig is, you're gonna measure from there down that same line, and then you can have a better estimate of how long your bangs and stuff need to sit. And you can do that with everything, even with the framing pieces and stuff. Again, you're gonna go from the middle part, or if it has a side part, you can measure a side part. But for this example, I'm using a middle, so you're gonna go from middle and then just around your face like that, and it'll give you a good like estimate of where it's gonna sit. If you're unsure, have it a little bit longer. You would rather it be longer than short. And yeah, because at least if it's longer, you can just trim a little bit, all good, right? Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm just gonna show you all how to pin a wig to a wig head, so that you know. I'm going to use a photo one so that you can actually see what I'm doing. So very simple. We put it on like normal. Because mine has been sitting in a bag for like a few days now. A few months. Okay, so what you do first is you adjust it to sit, so you make sure these little flaps here, like there's little pieces that come down from the hairline and go out. You're gonna put those by the ear sides on both sides, and that's to secure it. And then here on the top, you just make sure it's sitting at like a decent hairline size. And then here at the bottom, you're gonna pull, but we're gonna do that last. Then all you do from there is you grab your pins. I use a variety of different pins. I like to use these little ones over here because I can see them, number one, and number two, they have like an open space so that they don't pull into the wig cap, because you can easily use loose things. So the first one I like to place is right like on the top here in the crown, and then I just place that there. The next one that I like to place is here on the side. So you're pinning down by the temples, essentially. I should have used the polystyrene wig here. This would have gone faster. But anyway, we're here now. And then you do the same thing on this side. You pull it down, make sure it sits nice and flush, and then push it in. You don't necessarily have to pin here. It's not essential. If you have 1, 2, 3, it's basically like secured in the front. But if you want that little bit of extra, I just sometimes will go in here at the middle and just like pin it down. I do that mostly for like when I'm teasing and stuff like that. But if you're just styling and stuff, it's not really essential. And then now with the back, so it has a tendency to pull up. What you're going to do is grab the inner and pull it down so that it sits lower down. And that helps stretch out the back. It also helps you see the, the wig net on the inside. So you can see like if there's any open gaps and stuff, because the thing to keep in mind with wigs that are short like this is sometimes you will see the back pieces if they're not like this one is very nicely saturated, so you don't really see the back too much, which is nice. But yeah, so that is essentially how we pin. There's one there at the bottom, on the side, on the other side, and then on the top. And then we have a very nice secure wig. And that is how I like to secure my wig head. But yeah, like I said, the one in the front, not really necessary unless you really need it, but all good. Okay, okay, so we did washing and stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to show you some cutting techniques as well, so I'm not going to do that on this wig. I brought you out for that. we bring out the older wigs so that we can mess around on them and not mess up the new ones. You go down. Okay, so once again, just gonna pin her into place. Okay, so as you can see, this one's got some like very nice fluffy bangs. I'm gonna move you a bit closer. Okay, so she's got some nice like big fluffy bangs, little anime boy hair, you know how it is. Okay, so when we're looking at like cutting and stuff like that, I'm just gonna show you how to do the cutting technique and we go from there. So very important before we start working on wigs is just brush them out a little bit, because even a good wig has a little bit of shedding. Doesn't matter where you get it from. A good wig will have less shedding, but like wigs do shed, so you do just want to brush them out a little bit to get all of the shedding out. It does get a bit annoying when you're styling and like pieces of your spikes or whatever is falling out. It's not a fun time. Okay. So what we do first is we're gonna section out the hair. So because these bangs are nice and fluffy, you're gonna work with very small sections in the front to get it right. So very small sections, and then what I like to use are alligator clips. These ones here in particular, because they hold a lot easier than the other ones. Like these ones are nice, they're fine, but these ones have a better grip on them, I find, and this is nice for like smaller gripping, but when you're holding a lot of hair in the back, I do prefer it. So yeah, we're just gonna very nicely section off pieces that don't need to be here, and then when you're cutting bangs as well, just on the sides very specifically, because you're gonna get pieces from the side that's gonna come in. All you do is just flip them back as well, so that they're not in there, and then you don't accidentally cut something into your bangs that aren't supposed to be there. So very nice and thin. Okay. So very easy. First one is with the normal pair of scissors. With your hair scissors, preferably. Please don't be using kitchen scissors, guys. If you go in a kind of like this motion, so it's very light like this, and you're going to go up and down, and this is a nice way to create feathering in wigs, because unless something has to be straight cut like that, don't straight cut the wig. It doesn't look natural, because your hair doesn't naturally fall like that. And with anime type hair and stuff like that specifically, when you're doing spikes and stuff, it's better to have the feathered layers, because it works a lot better when you're texturing and stuff like that. So you're gonna take the section that you're working with, and then you're gonna go over it like that. And then basically you're gonna go up and down with it like this, while very slowly going like that. And then you just go at it like that. And what's also very pro tip over here, someone who does this very often, don't cut wigs with the pants that you're going to sleep in, because wig fibers get into your clothes and they're not like hair, they poke you like tiny little needles. So yeah. And then it just creates a nice little like fluffy little, like a very feathered texture. So you just go in and you go again. Were you guys able to see that clearly, or do you need me to do it again? Because I really don't mind doing it again. But yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's a very, okay, I thought so. It's a very hard thing to show through a video, but I do my best to. Okay, so once again, gonna go in, grab a piece. I try not to work with two big sections at a time. Okay, well, I do, but like, don't do what I do, please. Okay, so again, gonna take our section very nice like that. And you're gonna hold it at the bottom, and then from here, so again, up and down, and then you're going like this with it, but like you're not going all the way because that's just gonna straight cut it. You're going like this, so like this, and then up and down while doing the motion like that. Like that. Was that clearer, I hope? And then what you do when you're done, so now it's nice and trimmed and it's all fluffy, then you can see if there's pieces that you've missed from there. For example, there's this very long piece over here. So you're just going to take it aside again, and that is the wrong pair of scissors. And again, just like that. And then what you do when you're done with that is you hold it out like this, and then you can see if there's any like excess pieces and stuff. And all you do with the excess pieces is you go in and you very lightly like go upwards again, like this upwards, and you just trim off any excess pieces that are there. So this is the process that I say throws little hairs all over the place, and this is why I say do not, because I have little hairs all over me right now, and this is a new, like this is a change of clothes. So these little hairs will go into everything, so don't wear stuff like your comfy clothes, and do not wear stuff that you're gonna sleep in, because it's not a very fun experience. So yeah, that is how you will do that, and then it will create like a very nice little fluffy shape going out and stuff like that. I will show you how to style those in a moment. I just wanted to show like cutting. Okay. The next one I want to show is going to be done more on the top of the wig. So again, all I'm going to do is just put these down so that they don't come up with it. I've done this before where I've shown people how to tease and then make a little spike using just like hairspray and stuff. It was a very fun little experience, especially when they realized how easy. You don't have to use this. I just use this because it lives rent free in my room and I can smell it from a picture. But yeah, there are a bunch of different types of hairsprays that you can use. This one is obviously a lot more like house holding, but every now and then I do like to use Perfect Touch and stuff like that. That the Perfect Touch actually does work relatively well, I have found. So yeah, you don't have to use this because I know how expensive this hairspray is, and I would not do that to people. Okay, so one of the tools that you can use for that is this is a teasing brush. So this is nice to use for teasing. If you don't have it though, it's fine. It's fine. You can use one of these combs here. So just remember, the more teeth they are, so the more tighter, like tightly packed the teeth are, the more easier the teasing is gonna be. Because if it is loose, this is an extreme example, but if it is loose, you're not gonna get anywhere. You'll get there, but it will take a bit longer. But like essentially with like these here, this type of like teeth is the best when you're doing this. But this here obviously makes life a lot easier for teasing. So what I like to do is we hold. I like to add like the tiniest little bit of hairspray in there. Then we hold. And then what you're doing is you're going back. So you're going from the tip, not the very, very tip, because you want most of the teasing to be in there. So you're going to go from about there, and we're going to just brush in. Don't worry about the pieces that fall away, you just pick them up again. You want to do most of the texturing on the inside of where the spike is going to be, essentially. But yeah, so you're creating what looks like a little rat nest, is what I like to call it, is just this little rat nest on the inside. Also remember, when you are teasing, you want to hold it. So can you see it's already sitting upwards? So what you want to do is you want to hold it in the direction more or less that the spike is going to be, but away from the root. So like up or to the side. Like if you're doing stuff on the side, you're obviously going to hold it more like you would hold it more outwards. But because we're working on the top, we're going upwards with it. But yeah. And then because I know quite a few people ask me to show them how to do like the little spiky pieces and stuff. Yeah, sure, let's go. I can't remember the last time I've done this. Also, when you use hairspray, don't hold it like this. You're gonna like oversaturate it and then it leaves some like residue sometimes. Hold it at a bit of a distance and just very lightly give it a spray. So I know like one of the things a lot of people get scared of is like you're gonna mess up a wig. Trust me when I tell you I've messed up enough wigs in my life when I started, especially like styling wigs. I'm very sure my wigs would have like, if my wigs could, they would have like used me for the things that I had done to them, unfortunately. I'm gonna switch to my hair dryer real quick. Okay, so now we have this nice little piece that's sitting up this way now. And then all you want to do is go in with the back end of these little rat tail combs and just very like gently pull out. You don't want to fully unpick it because then it's going to lose everything. But very gently, you're going more for the outside pieces because you want the outside pieces to sit neat as opposed the inside can look like a rat's nest, it's fine. The pieces that sit on the outside, you want them to look like fairly neat. So you're just very lightly picking out any texture that's sitting on the outside pieces. Okay. And then what we do from here is again a little bit of okay. And so what you do is you don't like hold it. You're gonna create a very like weird tip. You're gonna just very gently tap it with your hand like that. Essentially, just very gently tap it, and then go in with the hair dryer. Hair dryer just decided it doesn't want to switch. Hello. And then very lightly go. Okay. And then we have like a cute little spike on the top of the head. And it's just there now. So we have this cute little spike. So then these pieces here on the tips, if you want them to sit more like pronounced and stuff, all you gotta do is just go in a little bit. So this is where I would say hold it into place now. If you want that like very, very like pointy tip, that is where I would say you now hold it into place with your fingers. And there we go. A little spike. If you have any like stragglers and stuff that are sitting on the ends, you can just very, very lightly go over it with this. And then sometimes you have little pieces that sit too high up, you just give them a little. Because for some reason, this wig had a hair strand that was sitting up till here, which I don't know. But yeah, little spiky guys. It's great. But this is how you do like all the, and then it's very easy once you're like done. If you need to like This obviously hasn't been setting, but like yeah, once you're done with it, like if you need to wash it, just you can undo it with your fingers. Because these aren't like obviously, but like see, even if you've undone it with your fingers, it's still sits up in that way. Even like during the day, if it comes undone, at least you know all you have to do is just hold it back into place and it's back into place. And yeah, you can just hold it back into place, just reapply your stuff. Another way I've found helps as well is if you use gel. There you go, blow dried back into place. But yeah, another way I have seen people do this, I haven't personally done it, but I know there are people that do this, is where on the tips here, they add like the hardening gels and stuff. So I've seen people use this Gossipy glued one here in particular, where they just put it on the tip and then they dry it and then it just like holds the tip into place. So that helps as well. But yeah. And then yeah, brushing it out obviously is a time when you are brushing out wigs, because remember when you've done this now, you've created a tangle in the wig. So to take it out, you're just gonna start from the tip and work it out. You can use a little bit of water if you need to. I would obviously say just wash the wig and then very gently work it out. It would be easier if I didn't have tips in it. But yeah, you're just gonna very gently work it out of the wig. This is a nice little trick when you don't wanna, if you're like reusing wigs for multiple characters and stuff. This is just, yeah, you can just brush it out afterwards and then, you know, it's all cool. You want to be gentle though when you're brushing out wigs. Please just always remember that. Like the shorter ones are a lot easier to detangle because they're short. But when you start getting to wigs that are very long, I will show you now the easier way to detangle those. But like yeah, in general, just be very gentle because remember they are plastic fibers. And you're adding product and you're adding heat and stuff to it, and you don't want to overstretch it and you don't want to damage anything. So yeah, that is how we make little spikies. So would you like me to show you again how to make that specific type of little spiky? Things are falling on me. But yeah, so I do not mind showing that again as well. But yeah, it's really like fairly easy to do that. It just comes to like a bit of teasing. Also, if you're using this here makes teasing as well. So the reason I'm showing this way is because a lot of people don't have like the heat styling tools and stuff like that. So the crimping irons and like yeah, mostly like a crimping iron because okay, cool. Mostly like the crimping irons and stuff like that. It's not very common for people to have those, and that's why I'm showing it this way. This is a very old school method of doing spikes and stuff like that. So yeah, same with if you're using this. This obviously is just it is meant for adding like stuff. So you can see it's obviously a lot easier to do it because of the type of bristles and stuff that it is. It goes. It's a lot easier. So also these types of brushes, they're not very expensive to find and stuff like that. They're not very expensive to find. They're not very hard and they're not very expensive. It's the words that I meant to say. But yeah, so if you have these are a lot easier to add the little rat's nest into the wig. And again, just generally go with it. And now you have your little rat's nest again. And then it's the same process where you pick it out and then you can do the thing. But yeah. Okay. I'm just going to show this quickly as well, just in case, because if you do fuck up your wig, For example, it's gonna take a section here. I'm not too worried about what I do with this wig. As you can tell, it's old and it's seen a lot. So yeah, if you're cutting and now you've done the thing I told you don't do, which is to just straight cut the wig, which apparently this wig just told me I'm not allowed to do on it. Okay, if you've done something like this and it was very unintentional and you did not mean to do that, very easy again to just go through with it. Again, you're just gonna hold it again and then just retexture it. This I would recommend doing in small sections because you're trying to essentially keep the length while also trying to fix it. So this is one way to do this, and then the second way to do this is with these hello thinning scissors. So you can also just go in with the thinning scissors, and then that will help add a little bit of it will help refeather it basically. But personally, I like to do it like this because it gives me a bit more control over the sections that I'm trying to fix. You will obviously end up losing just a little bit of length on it because this is essentially trying to fix it. But as you can see already, it's gotten its like featheriness back into it now compared to what it looked like just now, which was just a straight cut. So if you do mess it up, very easy to just fix it afterwards. It's yeah, you just will have to be prepared to lose just the slightest bit of length. Sorry, my throat is doing a thing. Yeah, you will just have to be prepared to lose the slightest bit of length, but it isn't the end of the day if you straight cut it. You can just fix it up like afterwards. Okay, so now quickly come off here. Now I'm gonna show you guys some other techniques for styling them. I'm gonna replug in here. Okay, let's get our long roll out again. Once again, I'm just gonna pin her in the crown. But yeah, okay. So with longer wigs, of course, you do just want to brush them out to make sure there's no tangles. If there are like tangles and stuff, all you do is you section your wig off. So I like to go in half first. So yeah, I will section it off like this. And then just clip the piece here on the side. So I just take a clip and then I'll clip it on the side over there so it's out of my way. And then with the rest of this, and this is a good way as well if you're styling wigs and stuff, I do this as well. If I have to do like crimping or curling or anything like that. So we just clip that up again. And then, yeah, so what you're doing is essentially you want to work with smaller sections like this. Ideally is a nice section here. So this. Okay. If you do have any tangling in the wig, we start to be right in the way. We start always from the bottom of the wig, and you're gonna just gently move back a bit. So you're just gonna gently start from there and then just work your way through it. So you start from the bottom and then you go up and then you go up until you get to the root, and then essentially you want to be able to just do this. A nice little tip for tangling things, especially if you have a wig that needs to sit straight. I will show you how to do the crimping. Okay. I will show you how to do the crimping, how I do it. But that is a nice way to like avoid tangling and stuff if you have straight wigs, and that is to actually crimp it. That I will show you. It's actually very fun. But yeah. So yeah, you just want to work in like very nice small sections. If you feel, for example, the section is too big for you, that is fine. Break it in half as well. It's fine. It like you just do what you're comfortable with, basically. Does she see it up? Okay. So this is my favorite little thing here. You can get these here of Take-A-Lot. They're actually Take-A-Lot in Amazon. They're actually not that expensive, the crimping irons. The reason I like this one is because I work with wigs a lot, and this one essentially does this where I don't have to really do anything. The mechanisms on the inside rotate by themselves. So I can hold my hand like this and it just goes through. It's great. So yeah, when you're crimping a straight piece first. You don't have to worry too much about the ends, where you want most of the textures on the inside, right? So you're going to go in on the inside again. You want to make sure you get all the way to the roots as well. You're going to let it go. If you're working with a normal crimping iron, it just will take a bit longer, but you're just going to do section by section by section by section like that. You're going to hold it for a little bit. You just make sure when you're working with heat tools in particular, use heat tools that are either they have a temperature setting on the side so you can drop it, or stuff like this. This is a travel hair straightener. I'm sorry for the way that it looks. It's seen a lot. It is my general styling straightener. But this is a very tiny little travel straightener. It doesn't get too hot, and this is ideal for wigs. Also, always remember to check that your wig is heat resistant. It should be listed on the site or on the packaging. Usually it does say. If it doesn't and you're still unsure, the best way to check is with a section like this that's right at the bottom of the wig. Go to the tip and like try out your like heat tool that you want to use. If it's fine, you know that you're fine. The way you will know if it's not heat resistant is it will frizz and will melt and will smell so bad. And that's when you know, like, okay, you can't use like heat tools and stuff. But yeah, so with crimping, where you start with, you want most of the fluff on the top, so you're gonna go from the top and then work your way down with it. When you're done with that, so what I do afterwards is, I go in sideways like this. And the reason that you do this is to create a bunch of different texture in the hair, but also so that the texture is not like just it's not too intense, basically. And then you go in the other way as well, doing the exact same thing. Again, you want most of your texture towards the inside because that's where a lot of the volume and that will sit. Obviously, if you're making a wig that's very fluffy, then you can, like, you do the whole thing. But yeah, so just in general, go in from the top. Then work your way all the way down. But yeah, obviously, like, okay, so the reason I use this particular one is because I'm doing so many wigs. This actually makes my life, like, it cuts my time down a lot. So the reasons that we add texture into wigs, number one, it makes it easier for doing the fights and stuff like that because now there's already texture being added into the wig. So it's nice for fights, it's nice for making a wig fluffy, it's nice for wigs that are straight like this, and if you have to worry about them getting tangled, like, these it doesn't. You can just brush through it like so easy. Like it helps with the tangling in long wigs. And then one of the other reasons you add texture into a wig is for if you're doing wig construction basically and you're gonna be creating wisps, it is easier to add glue and it's easier to add glue and for the glue to hold if the wig has texture in it. Because if you use like just the straight wisp, it's a bit harder to hold and the wisp have a higher chance of just slipping out of the glue. I know I'm speaking from experience of someone who's done stupid things before in my life. But yeah, so again, once you're done doing the full straight things, you go in from the side and you just let it go in again. So yeah, we go from the side and then you just flip it to the other side and then you go again. But yeah, that is one nice way to add texture. Also, another nice thing about crimping is if you have a wig that is particularly shiny, crimping actually helps with the shine. And then if the so this one didn't take the texture on too hectically, which is fine. Like it's textured, but it's not too hectic. Some wigs take the texture like very, very hectically, and if that happens, all you have to do is once you're done doing the crimping, you just take the crimping iron and like use it like a hair straightener and go over it like that. Like very lightly, don't like fully clamp it down, just go over it like that. And it will help get rid of the like crimp texture in the not the crimp texture, sorry, the crimp like effect, like the very hectic like zigzaggy. It'll help get rid of that, but it also still helps like keep the texture in the hair, and so the hair is textured. It's very nice. If you don't have a crimping iron and you need to add texture into a wig, very, very simple, very like random tip I found, I think like a month ago, was somebody literally what they do is, again, they work in like smaller sections, but they take the wig and then they braid it. So in small sections, and then they very tightly braid the wig. And then once it's like braided, they go over it with the hair straightener and then they just leave it to sit for a while. And that does help add like a little bit of texture, like a little bit of a crimpy texture into the wig. So if you need to texture a wig and you don't have a crimping iron, this is I have recommended it to someone before. I don't know if she did use it, but I have recommended that to someone before who didn't have a crimping iron. But yeah, so you're just, I'm not gonna go all the way with this. So you're just gonna do like a very like tight little braid, and then you're gonna take your straightener. Again, if you don't have these little ones, it's fine as long as you have a hair straightener that has a temperature setting. You're all good. But yeah, so you just go over it very like gently. So fun thing to remember with wigs, wig fibers set. So you can style them with heat, and then they set when they cool down, basically. So however they cool down is how they will set. It's the opposite to how hair works, like real person hair. So yeah, this essentially, once it's cool, the reason you leave it is because you're leaving it to cool down. But once it's cooled down, then it will have that slight wavy texture to it, and then yeah, makes life easier. Okay. But yeah, I love how I've just decided this is my wig that I'm going to play around with today. I'm gonna use one of the other wigs to show a different thing, but this is just general wig for now. We're just gonna have all of the random wigs. Okay, so also another way, like she's fairly straight, but if you also like, if you're adding curls and stuff, obviously there's a very easier way of using the curling iron and stuff like that, which is, yeah, that does work again. So it has settings, you can use a curling iron. Another way to do it, so essentially what you're doing with it, you're gonna be curling it in. So haven't done this in a while. You Let me do it this way. Yep, there we go. So one of the other ways to do it is to do it this way, where you curl it in around your finger. This is to do like very like specific types of curls, and then you pin it like this. You can use like alligator clips, the very small ones, and that. An example. Here in my box of like many random stuff. Okay, so these little clips over here, they're very nice as well for doing this with. So you can just like flip it in like that, and if you don't want to use these big ones, because like really using these big ones for everything is a nightmare, and nobody wants to own a million of those ones. So yeah, you can clip it in like this. You do this all around the wig essentially, and then you dip it into hot water. Not boiling water, because even if it is heat resistant, I feel like it can still fry your wig. So not into boiling water, but into hot water, you can do that. So you just basically will do this around the wig, and then so you just will do this around the wig, and then that is how you can add little curls like this into it, and then when it comes out, it will fall like in the little ringlets going around. The other way to do those is you can use the curling iron in the normal way. The other way is to completely heat up the hair. So because she doesn't get very hot, this little straightener, I do this like a few times. And then just do the thing I was saying where I go around with it. So this is another way to do it. It's not the easiest way to do it because it does require you to go over it a few times. So obviously the better way to do it would be to using the curling iron if you have one. Also, just a general note, I do say this to people a lot, but if you ever do need assistance in general with like wig styling, just message me. I might take a while to get back to you because I'm just busy, but like if you just message me on Instagram, I will get back to you eventually. And then again, you just pin it up like this, and then you're just gonna let it sit. If you want to make the curls look more natural, hi David. If you want to make the curls look more natural, what you do is like this, but then you do it the other way as well. So when you're doing curls and you want them to look more natural, just do them in different directions essentially, and that will help. So like, yeah, this should be dry, I hope. Yeah, it is. So this little piece over here, I would like very much to see one. So this piece over here, I'm going to take it off now and show you. Okay. So it doesn't get the texture quite the same. I don't know if that's very visible. But it doesn't get the texture quite the same as the crumb side, but it does texture the hair. I really hope that's like slightly visible. But yeah, it does add like a bit of texture, and this was the method of it adds quite nice texture actually, and it does make it like fluffy compared to like the rest of the piece of the hair. So that's like the top of the hair, and you can see it's got like a bit of fluff to it, whereas this is the bottom half of it and it's a lot less fluffy. So that is a way to add texture into the hair if you do not have a crimping iron. Little braiding method. It's a bit time consuming and it's tedious, but it's a method that works at least. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to show you to have a hole in your hair. Go there for now, baby girl. Okay. The color of this wig is so pretty. It's like a cherry red. Okay. So this wig hasn't been brushed out since we washed it on Saturday. So very lightly just go over it just to make sure there's no tangles and stuff in here. Okay, so now if you want to add little spikies and stuff into wigs, but you don't want those intense anime spikes, you just want it to be like nice and fluffy. A little method that I like doing is this. So again, we just section out the wig. Okay, so again, we're just gonna section out everything. And then you can, with this here, I wouldn't say don't work in too big of sections, but don't work in too big of sections, but you can work in bigger sections if you want to. But basically, you just go over it very gently, and then you flick it out. Long hair, be gone. But yeah, so you can flick it, and then what you do is you just cup it in your hand like that. Just cup it until it like cools down. And then it gives you just a little flick. It's very, can you see it? Yeah, there you go. Just this little flick that it causes. It's very cute. So it's a nice way to get like those very like fluffy wigs, but that aren't like anime spiky style. But yeah, playing with heat is actually a very fun way to style a wig. But that's also why I say like low heat stuff, because you can do stuff like that, and then you can also just add a little bit extra, like let's do this. So yeah, like the heat will set how it sets when it's cool, so it now has those little wave with the little flick, and you can control. Like it's nice because you can basically control for yourself how intense the flick is. Let me work with a slightly bigger section. Oof. The fabric softener that was used for this wig is so intense. But yeah, and again, you can just go in and then you're just essentially creating little flickies with it. This is I had to style a wig completely like this after I had done all the fights in it, because I have a friend who is like a little energizer bunny, and in the space of 2 minutes he managed to completely take out all of the styling, and like whatever hairspray was in there died, and yeah. So what we did afterwards was we styled it like this, so it had like it held the style then for the rest of the day. So the nice thing was heat styling like this, so it adds these cute little flicks to it. But then also the nice thing about heat styling is that now it's kind of set like this, so it takes longer basically for the style to drop from here. So yeah, and this will hold longer throughout the day now. And then even if you packed it away into like a wig bag, and like for example, let me get to the wig. Sorry, I don't want to bring that wig head out because I feel like it would give people nightmares. It's got like teeth and stuff on it. It's terrifying. So like for example, this wig here, it's meant to look like this, but this here is very much heat styled. I heat styled it years ago, and every now and then I just touch it up. But it basically holds all the little pearls and stuff that I have given to it, and all the little flickies and stuff. It holds that very nicely. So yeah, this is also a nice little way to just style away. I will it. And then yeah, you can just like you don't have to do like the whole thing, because I don't think she wants like the whole thing. But yeah, you just go in, and then you just can do it like at any point. And the nice thing is you can just go over it again if you mess it up, and there you go. A little. And again, like I said, you can control how intense you want the flick to be. So if you only want like a very, very little one, you just go in on the tip, and then you can just, and then you can make it smaller so that it's not as intense like this one. It's just more like out like that. Okay. That is also a nice way to just style wigs. Over here. I know another question, sorry, I was looking at these now. I know another question somebody asked me was about the styles of wigs and stuff and what I recommend in that. It's a very nice wig. So this is a lace front wig, as you can see. It has this. I would not say it is necessary for you to have a lace front wig, unless you're going for like the accuracy and stuff like that, or unless you need like the natural hairline and stuff like that. I wouldn't say it is very necessary, but it does come with this. So this is the lace here. You would put this on your head and see how it fits and like cut it from there basically. So yeah, this is a very, very nice wig this one here. But yeah, I wouldn't say that using a lace front is essentially very necessary. You can use according to the character that you're cosplaying. Basically, like for example, this is being used for Aloy from Horizon, and she has her hair back, and the person I'm doing it for wants the more natural hairline. So that's why we went with the lace wig. But if it's not necessary, it's not necessary for you to do. This is also a very nice one. So this one isn't necessarily a lace front, but it has like a fake lace like front piece. Like it looks like it's a lace front, but it's not. It's very hard to show. So it has like the piece here in the front that's like kind of lace fronty, but it's not. And it's just very natural. And then again, you can just, because it has like a little piece there in the front, you just add the like lace glue onto it and then stick it down, and then it gives you like the illusion of the hairline. So this is an alternative option to using something like that, because like this wig didn't need to be like fully laced, and that's why it just has a little fake out here in the front. So there's that. And then the other option. So then the other option is ones like these, where they're just stitched differently. So they stitch the weft from underneath. So it's also like a fake hairline, but not a lace front as well. These are also a nice option if you're doing like something that needs to sit up as well. But yeah. But like for this one as well, you can see it needed to just flip over. So it's like a very like small of that sits there. This is an alternative for the hairline. And then the last alternative is obviously the glued hairline, where you essentially use weft and create a hairline yourself. So this is so this is more of a created hairline, essentially. In general, when you're creating hairlines, I would suggest using like silicone-based glues and stuff. The Uhu glues are nice, but they can be a bit hard to find sometimes. I know Takealot does sell like a version of it, but if you're just making like normal wefts in general, or like creating like when you're doing hard cap, like the helmet, yes, it is a stereo. When you're making the hard cap wigs and stuff like that, if you're not able to get the Uhu glue, this is actually a very nice alternative, this one in particular, because it dries fast, but it also dries completely clear. It does not leave residue. Best thing I've discovered. So that, and then I use this little thing here. This here is, you know, the silicone like face applicator thingies. That is what this is. That is all it is. I love using it because when the glue dries, you just like peel it off, and then it's fine and it's clean and it's good to use again. So yeah, this glue is the one that I use because it again does not leave residue. I use it mostly for the tip pieces that I'm creating the wefts on, and if you want to add it to the rest of the wig, which is something I have done before, all I do is I water it down just a little bit, and this one doesn't get weird if you water it down, so that's also why I like using it. But you just basically water it down just like a little bit, and then you can use a normal like paintbrush and just brush it into the hair, and that's how I've gotten those like. That's how I did like that big stay in wig and stuff like that, was using this here. 10 out of 10 does not leave residue. My favorite thing to use. But yeah, and then the last thing, well, there's two last things I did want to share with you guys as well. The one was for how to pattern your head. There's something touching me right now. Yeah, the one was for how to pattern your head. Where's the wig head? Oh, there she is. Which I'm going to just explain on this wig head instead of doing this on my actual head, because I don't feel like anyone needs to see that. But yeah, so for wrapping your head, because this is again another thing that I get asked for, because like I said, these things are not accurate to your head size. I broke my nail. These things aren't accurate to your head size, and if you want a custom wig head, what you're gonna do is you use a cellophane wrap, and you're just gonna like wrap your head all the way around, and then you can go in with either duct tape or masking tape, and then just like, so what you do first is you go around the edges of your head. You can go over your ear, don't worry about that. You can go past the hairline, don't worry about that. You're just trying to create a hard shell on your head all the way around. Before you do this, obviously, what you want to do is put your head in. I do recommend using the net cap, but these are fine as well, these solid ones. But you're going to tie your hair up how it would be sitting underneath a wig cap, and then put the wig cap over it, so that is how your head is going to be underneath a wig, and then wrap your head, and then do the taping and all of that. So with the tape again, you're going to go around, over, and then the back here. You go a little bit lower on everything so that you have space to draw, and then you can start layering from back to front, and overs and stuff like that, until you create like a nice hard shell. I usually just use masking tape to do this, because I find masking tape just easier to draw on than duct tape for me. So you do that. Once you're happy with the shell that you've now created on your head, you will go in with a normal marker or Sharpie or whatever, and then you start drawing your hairline. So for me, for example, I'll start drawing from here all the way down, and then you're gonna draw all the way. You're gonna go with your hairline all the way to where your ear is. Go around your ear, so you get the shape of your ear, and then from the back here all the way around your hairline like that. And yeah, it does obviously help if you have a second person to help you. That will help. But yeah, that is how you will create like a custom, and then you can just plop it off your head. It should just flip off your head, and then you plop it onto a wig head. Come here, my darling. You guys get to be one of the few people who are exposed to this nightmare wig head. So this is the nightmare wig head. As you can see, it's got like this extra piece of like space added onto it, and that's because once I've taken off the top piece, that's why. So the cap piece that's fitted on top, what will happen is it's gonna have like space underneath it, and you can just take whatever like scrap fabric, stuffing, and newspaper even, and you're just gonna shove it inside until that piece is like fully stuffed, and then you have like a custom wig head. So like, yeah, this is the nightmare wig head. This is the wig head that all the helmet wigs get built on. Yeah, so you're just gonna put it over, stuff it, and then you have a custom sized wig head, which is now the size of your head, which will help so much when you're styling and stuff like that, especially if you're worried about like messing up in that. But it's also like one of the best ways when you're doing hard cap, like the sorry, the helmet wigs and stuff, is to do it that way. Yeah. And then the last thing that I do want to just share is I know like a lot of people have asked me about cleaning wigs and stuff like that, especially things that are like permanently styled. I had it. Oh, yeah. So you're just gonna get a little spray bottle about that size, basically, just a little spray bottle, and then you get rubbing alcohol and water. And what you do is this is a mixture of 1 part rubbing alcohol and 4 parts water, and just gonna mix it in here. And yeah, you can just like spray it on the inside of your wig. I can use it. You need it. So what you do is on the inside of your wig here, you just take this and you very like nicely spritz it on the inside there. You don't necessarily have to do the outer if you don't want to. The reason you're spraying the inside is because please remember this is not natural hair, this is wig fibers, and you sweat under a wig, and yeah, it does like collect like oil buildup, and it does help with the odor and stuff. So this is just a nice way to disinfect and to help with like odor. And then all you do is you hang it. I like using these ones here for this because it's like open on the inside and it's airy. And you just put it over like that, and then you just leave it overnight to air out and to dry out. And then yeah, one of the other things, sorry, I think this one does. Another thing I was asked about is how you keep this on your head. This is a nice tactic over here. So you see these little clips here? They're very easy to find, very like you just buy these, and then the best places to attach them is here. So the places that fit in here on the side of your head, they just flip in, and then one that goes here and flip in. So these are nice to fit into wigs, especially if you keep it in. And then the other things that are nice to help keep wigs on your head is the silicone bands and a velvet band as well will help a lot. You literally just put them over. The silicone band, the only thing I'm going to say is if you have a little bit of brittleish hair, your hair isn't as strong and stuff, the silicone band is going to wreck you just a little bit. So I would instead recommend using a velvet one. That, yeah, you literally just flip it over and yeah, you can put the wig on. The silicone one is the one I use mostly. It's very solid, and I like using the silicone one in particular because it has little holes in it. So for those clips there, you can like push it into the silicone band, which is nice. And my little gremlin self can run around the entire convention and everything's fine. Like the wig does not come off my head. So yeah, I do recommend using the silicone or the velvet bands for those. But yeah, is there anything else you guys would like me to touch on, or anything that I have forgotten that you have asked? Just let me know. Yeah. Okay, Bugs, you're challenging my life here. The first wig that I made from scratch, I'm guessing that you mean that I fully made would be my Bakugo wig, and that was the time I decided that since I couldn't get a wig to perform how I wanted, I decided to straighten acrylic wool and sew it to a wig like a crazy person. But yeah, that was my first one that I ever like fully made from scratch. My Bakugo wig was great. So with your dreadlocks, the thing that I just showed now, this here, you can use this here as well. It is actually like a little bit of a theater hack because that's what they do in theater and stuff like that as well. Because those people are not washing their wigs. You can use this on cosplays as well, just by the way. Those people are not washing their wigs and their cosplays after every single performance. So this is a little trick that I've learned from that, where you can just like spritz it, and again, it disinfects and helps with the odor and everything. So with your one in specifically, I know what you're asking me. Yours specifically, you can spray the outside of it and it will be fine. But yeah, Oh, what are you doing with your wig that the spider's living in there? So let me look at it. But yeah, no, you can use the exact same thing, and then if you cut something out that I didn't, when you say you cut it out, do you mean like you cut out an entire section of the hair? Because you can remake the wefts if that's what you want to do. You can remake the wefts on that, or you can just a bit of that's a rough one. That is a rough one because okay, but um I'm very curious to know what you cut off that needs to be reattached. But yeah, if you do that, I guess like you can either buy like just wefts essentially to reattach into the wig. I've done that before. Sorry, I've done that before where I've just bought like wefts of different colors and stuff like that. And then I use the method with the glue and the stuff to like make the wefts again. And then I just take those and then I attach it into the wig. I had to do that for my Kitana wig because it wasn't as fluffy as I would have liked it to be. It was very flat. So what I did was I bought extra wefts and then just remade wefts and stuck it in. But another method you can use for doing stuff like that is also just splicing two wigs together. Like that works. I do that a lot when I have wigs that have two very different styles and stuff. And that I use the top like piece sometimes and then the underneath piece. Like when I did the Nika wig, for example. When I did the Nika wig, for example, the bottom had to be the ombre into the pink, but the top needed to be the solid purple. So what I did was I bought a solid purple wig and then a wig with the ombre into it. And I liked that because I removed all the purple at the bottom and then took that and put it in the top to make it extra fluffy. And then at the bottom, I just added as much of the pink that I wanted to in there. But I'm glad to hear you didn't cut anything. But yeah, no, you can. I don't know if you can reattach the piece that you cut off. To be honest, I don't think that's possible, and you might just have to get like new pieces to add into it. But it's fixable. It's like the thing is, it's fixable. Most of the time, it's fixable. But yeah. Anything else you guys would like to ask about? Let's go here. Oh, I have little wig hairs in my pants right now. Oh, fluffy curls. When you say fluffy curls, this is okay. Sorry, I just needed to think about that. Oh, I just realized how long I've been sitting here. Oh, fluffy curls. So you can see like she's a very like nice fluffy wig, and this is just something that I've done to the wig. Very much. So what you can do is I do still, even if I'm doing stuff like that, I do still crimp out the wig to add the fluff into it. But you can still, very much after you curled it, you can still backcomb the crap out of it. That is still something that you can do. So you can do the curls like normal and stuff like that. Depending on how you prefer to do your curls and stuff, or if you have a wig that's already curled, it's fine. But if you need to do the curls first. That's what I usually do. Is I do the curls first. So either with the curling iron. You can use the curling iron. You can use the hot water method. You can use the heat method and stuff like that. So like yeah, you can use like see there. I forgot to show you the little curls that I created, but like there, see like you can use the heat method with the alligator clip to make like the curls and stuff like that. So put there right now. So you can use those methods to create curls, and then you can backcomb the curls. And then once you're done backcombing and stuff, you can just very gently pick it out, and then it should still give you like the very nice fluffy curls. I'm sorry, my throat is like fighting with me right now. But yeah, that's all. I know somebody did ask me about trimming the back of a wig. So like these types here, when you're trimming it. What I would recommend for these types here, what I would recommend with these here is to do this here, and then again, where I said pull it all the way down so that it's pulled down, so that you can see the inner pieces, like, yeah, so you can see. So you would just pull it all the way down and pin it. And then what you would do with these, because like this one is already cut to sit in that kind of like more tapered way. If you want it to be shorter in the back, like these pieces I know do sit long, but that's, yeah. If you want it to sit shorter in the back while still not being able to see like these pieces here, what I would recommend is putting two wigs together so that you essentially where all the gaps are, you just put another weft inside there, and then it will just make it like more saturated in the back, and then you can hold it out more like this and cut it off more, and that'll give you like it'll give you that like illusion of like the kind of short tapered back, but like without like seeing the wig knitting in the back. Does that make sense? I know that was a question that was asked of me, because that is how I do that. That is how I've done that before. Ow. Oh, I see. That is how I've done that before. This one I didn't because it was very saturated and it needed to sit flat, and it didn't need to be as fluffy. But yeah, with these here, there we go. With these here, what I generally do is I just like pull them out. Like I pin them all the way down, then I pull them out like that. And then I just go in with my scissor and I just like very gently like cut it all to one length. And then when it falls down, it layers itself down. And then you just do that. But each time, so don't hold it straight, especially when you start getting to the top, don't hold it straight. Hold it like, so because now the roots are here, you're gonna just hold it upwards again. And as you go up, you're gonna do the same thing and hold it upwards like that. And then go in and trim it. And that will give you like a more even like texture going downwards. That is how I get these ones to look like this when I do them. Yeah. Is there anything else, or are we all good, guys? But like I said, in general, if you do have questions or you need assistance, like just message me. Like I said, I might take a bit longer to respond just because I'm busy, but like you can just message me and I will actually like you're probably gonna get like 3 5 minute long voice notes out of me. Yeah, you're probably gonna get like 5 voice notes, like 2 5 minute voice notes out of me and like 3 videos and whatnot. But I will do my best to assist and like help with that. Also, because I do this with a lot of people as well. If you are ever competing and you need assistance with like figuring out how to do a wig, again, just message me. I will give you the advice that I am able to give you. Yeah, like I will do my best to just explain to you and stuff. But yeah, if there's no other questions, are we all good? Do you all need me to go through anything again, or everything fine? Okay, cool. Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think it's looking like. Sorry. It looks like we have no more questions, but thank you so much for joining us today. It was extremely helpful and enlightening, and it's really refreshing to see some new people come into the workshop space as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh, wait, one more thing before we sign off. One more thing before we sign off. Guys, please wear protective gear. I'm saying this as as somebody who has watched my friends do stupid shit. Um, use a respirator. If you do not have a respirator, you can use a normal mask. But for the love of God, do not be breathing in glue and do not be breathing in hairspray. You don't want to be doing that. If you are working with alcohol markers where you are adding color into it, use gloves, please. That is the last thing I have to say. Like, please just use protective gear, guys.
Very good points.
I don't want people getting sick.
Okay. All right. Thank you
Okay.
very much for presenting with us today, and everyone. We can see everyone at the at Comic-Con. Not sure if you guys are keen on doing another workshop before the convention, but we can check that out later. Alrighty. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, everybody, and thank you, Jinx, again for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me.
Awesome. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.